Nintendo Switch 2. In this video, we're going to be unboxing the Switch 2 and a bunch of official Nintendo accessories. I'll also be sharing my first impressions, and after spending 24 hours using the system, I'll be giving you my honest and unbiased review of the Switch 2. The goods, the bads, the questionable. Let's get into it. So besides the box opening fail, 3, 2, 1. The package itself was amazing. The entire inside was red and Mario's face pops out at the top. If you're wondering how we got this, it's because we ordered from the Nintendo store directly. However, we were a little concerned that the Switch 2's box protective circle sill was actually ripped in half, exposing the opening for the box. We were concerned that somebody stole the system, but luckily for us, the console was still inside and we got it okay. Now this is the Mario Kart Edition with extortionate raising in prices for Switch 2 games. The game itself is a lot cheaper when you buy it as a bundle. The first thing you see when you open the box is the Joy-Cons and the Switch itself. Now my first impressions of the controller is how amazing the top buttons feel. Not just because they increase the size, but they generally click. Also, my brother and I have large hands, so the size increase definitely feels like a much more comfortable fit. But aesthetically, they look great. Next up is the system itself. This is definitely bigger than the OLED. I'm actually comparing all three models later in the video, but this device feels like a much more solid build. I admire the size increase a lot. The materials itself just feels reliable and sturdy, but it's time for the real test. The magnetic snap. That is really satisfying. So these magnets are very strong on the device. Like, I was really using force to pull these apart and it was not coming apart. To take them off, there's actually a little button on the back of the Joy-Con, which physically pushes away the Joy-Con from the system, making it easier to pull away. But before we switch on the device, I wanted to show you this Samsung 256GB microSD. You just pull the stand back and then you press it in and you'll hear it click. But now for the moment of truth, we have to turn on the Switch itself. The clear Nintendo logo comes up and then the Switch 2 logo itself right in the middle as the system boots, and then it takes you to your language select. So let's explore the rest of the box so we can unbox everything else. Firstly, you get greeted with your Mario Kart game, a Nintendo Switch 2 manual, and then a HDMI 2.1 cable. Then of course you have your Joy-Con attachments that absolutely nobody uses. Then removing that box will reveal the final layer. So firstly, we have the Joy-Con controller attachment. This thing is actually really nice. It feels a little bit more sturdy in the hands, and they snap on just with the magnets like they do on the Switch system. It actually feels very nice with the size increase, and I like this a lot. Then of course we have our UK plug right here, as well as a USB-C to USB-C cable. And then the final thing in the box, the actual Switch 2 dock itself. I love this toaster design with the curve at the back. The sides has two USB-A ports, and then removing the back cover will reveal the power connection, HDMI 2.1 slot, as well as an Ethernet slot. Also, check out this ventilation. Here it is actually attaching it into the dock. I'm going to get you a different angle right here too, from the top down upwards. Very nice. We're now moving on to the Switch 2 carry case. Now, the reason we got this one, it's the official Nintendo one, is because it comes with a screen protector. Also, this feels incredibly sturdy, and I love the little dangly colored accents that are on the side. These just make for such a nice, easy unzipping experience. But inside it's pretty standard. You got your flap with all the game slots, but the screen protector itself was a nice touch to come with this. Unfortunately, the screen protector doesn't come with a placement guard, but it was relatively easy to set up, and I did manage to get one speck of dust underneath, which is going to irritate me forever. Next up, we have the Pro Controller. This thing is absolutely beautiful. You get a manual at the top, as well as a USB-A to USB-C connection, and then the device itself. Now this thing is absolutely stunning. I love the white accents on the black build. It feels like one of the best controllers I can say that I've ever held in my hands. Now, it's got the new grip buttons at the back too, which I'm looking forward to mapping, but I haven't found a good use for them just yet. But we could not review this controller without reviewing the GameCube Pro Controller. As now you can play GameCube games on the Switch 2, we had to get this throwback. So we just take it out this massive box casing, and it feels exactly identical to the original GameCube controllers. Now, holding this thing made me realize how far we've actually come in comfortability and ergonomics. It's just not even comparable to the new Switch Pro Controller. But of course, it's going to be nostalgic to play GameCube games on the GameCube controller. Next up, we have the Super Ultra Deluxe carry case, which allows you to carry absolutely everything, and we're going to pull this out right here. Now, first impressions is this is not a sturdy material. It's actually very flimsy, but the reason I think they've done that is because it's a very thick padded foam, which is why it's more squishy. So if it was to get impacted with all your stuff inside, it will absorb the shock a lot more. But of course, you've got all your slots. Absolutely everything fits inside of here. It closes very nice with some game slots along the top. You've also got a zip on the actual lid itself for extra cables or any extra bits you have. So the Switch 2 dock goes into the back, and the flap itself has a bit that goes into the middle to protect the inside of it, which I thought was a nice touch. You've then got a slot for your Joy-Con controller, and then the Joy-Cons can go on either side, but this does actually fit with the Joy-Cons attached, which I'm going to show you right here. You slap on the magnets and chuck it in there. Then, of course, your Pro Controller goes at the front, or your GameCube Pro Controller. You cannot fit both of these in here at the same time. And there you have it. If you place the Pro Controller at the front when zipping, you can actually fit it inside as well. Now that the unboxing's done, this is every evolution of the Switch from bottom to top. And you can clearly see the size difference in all three of them. You can see here that the size and the actual builds are very different between the three models. And of course, my favorite has to be the Switch 2. Now, I'm just going to take away the original Switch for a moment and compare the OLED to the Switch 2. Now, the camera doesn't do it justice. In terms of the screen, the OLED wins. But to be completely honest, with the HDR and improvements on the Switch 2, the colors are super sharp, the blacks are very deep. It actually has an incredible screen. And I'm very shocked that this device doesn't have an OLED because it looks like it. But as you can see, the menus itself are only slightly different. There's a blue outline on the games and the buttons when you scroll over them, whereas on the Switch 2, it has a rainbow animated design, which I really like. But as well, the icons got a redesign as well as some new icons added. I'm going to show you more mouse gameplay in a moment, but I just wanted to show you clearly that on a tabletop, this thing is very responsive for the mouse controls and is very accurate. Now, if you raise this slightly off the table, it does not work. It has to be on a surface. Now, that surface doesn't have to be flat for it to work properly, but it does have to be on a surface. So here is my honest and unbiased review of the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 is undoubtedly a major upgrade over the original Switch and the OLED. While a full system overhaul is long overdue, now that it's finally in our hands, the wait was definitely worth it. Everything about the Switch 2 just feels premium this time around. Almost Apple-like in its presentation and attention to the small details. The build quality is top tier, from the redesigned stand to the USB-C input on the top to the new magnetic Joy-Cons. Everything just feels very well thought out and polished on the Switch 2. My favorite feature is the 7.9-inch 1080p HDR display because it is mind-blowingly good. And honestly, it looks like OLED, even though it's not. And that alone is super impressive. The dock upgrades are very well appreciated too, being able to upscale at 4K 60 FPS. Now, although the HDR was very fiddly, it's just nice to have it as a feature. Also, it has amazing 3D audio and the microphone quality is pretty good, but those are definitely bonus features that round the package. Now, the specs inside the Switch 2 definitely perform. It's got fast loading speeds, shockingly good graphics, and smooth performance. That said, the battery life is a little bit underwhelming, between 2 to 6.5 hours, but that's to be expected from a device packing this much power for portability. While the specs are close to the Steam Decks, I do wonder how it's going to manage next-gen titles within the next 3 to 5 years. But for now, that's not something I'm too concerned about. The UI feels very familiar. Basically, it's the same as the original Switch, which is a bit of a letdown. I was hoping for an overhaul and a new design, but we do get some nice polishes, some color changes, and a whole new redesign to the eShop, which is very nice and efficient. One cool new feature is the game share feature. This lets others locally play multiplayer where only one person has to own the game and everybody else on their Switch 2 gets to play that game as well. And we can't do a Switch 2 unbiased review without talking about the game chat, which is what the brand new button on the controller is for. Now, it's nice that Nintendo are finally adding game chat built into the devices, and the voice system works fine, but video streaming not so much. It looks like it's 240p at 5 FPS, so it is functional, just not very impressive. Oh, and one thing that sucks is if you don't have a Nintendo Online subscription, then you basically have a button on your controller that does nothing. Now let's talk about the games. GameCube compatibility is a huge win. Finally, we have native support without emulators. However, the library is tiny. I believe currently there's 3 games available, which they will open to more, but it's just a little bit of a letdown when you're selling it as an exclusive feature, especially when GameCube games can be ran on the original Switch. I'm just hoping that we're going to get some Wii emulation soon. But in terms of the launch lineup of games, it's pretty weak for this release. Now, Mario Kart World is the only true exclusive, and while it's awesome, with free roam, new mechanics, and fast loading speeds, it definitely feels like a next generation Mario Kart game. But unfortunately, it's just not enough to be a system seller. Games like Street Fighter 6 and Cyberpunk 2077 will definitely help pad out the library for launch, but where are the must-have Nintendo blockbuster titles? I'm just concerned that enough people won't want to upgrade. I am hopeful that games like Pokemon Legends ZA and Donkey Kong Bonanza will open the library, and I'm looking forward to playing enhanced versions of games like Zelda and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Also, now that the Switch's hardware is very good, I'm excited to see what AAA game companies are going to be porting their games over to the Switch. And one area I think Nintendo definitely messed up on is making their demo game a paid-for experience. Like, come on. Come on. Now, one major concern for me is price hikes, not just for the console, but the games themselves. Nintendo titles are already notorious for never going on sale and staying at the price that they launch throughout the system's life cycle. So for £75, $80 launch titles, I am concerned that this is going to become a new norm in the gaming industry. But my final verdict is that the Switch 2 is a major leap in the right direction for Nintendo. It's powerful, it's premium, and full of potential. So if you're already a Nintendo fan, this system is absolutely worth upgrading to. And I'm just excited to see what comes in the near future. But subscribe for more content. I'm going to be live streaming the Switch 2 over on kick.com/Lordsi and uploading the gameplay to my second channel, Lordsi. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the Switch 2 and will you be buying it? Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day and peace.
Yeah, you should see.